Leaf, its types, origin, and development. What is leaf? A flattened structure of a higher plant, typically green and blade-like, that is attached to a stem directly or via a stalk or the petiole. Leaves are the main organs of photosynthesis and transpiration in plants. Parts of the leaves, generally, leaf is consisted of the leaf base, petiole, and the lamina. Together form the main parts of a leaf. First of all, the leaf base. This is the part where a leaf attaches to the stem. Leaf base has two small leaf-like structures called the stipules. In plants like paddy, wheat, and other monocotyledons, this leaf base is wide and masked the stem. Then petiole. The petiole is the long, thin stalk and links the leaf blade to the stem. The lamina, also known as the leaf blade, it is the green, flat surface of the leaves. It consists of small branches, veins, and the veinlets. The veins that run along the middle of the lamina is called the midrib. Midrib divides the surface of the lamina into two. These veins and veinlets give rigidity to the leaf blade and help in the transportation of water and other substances. Types of the leaves. There are two broad categories of the leaves, simple and compound leaves, which are further classified into different groups based on their shape, size, arrangement on the stem, leaves of the flowering and non-flowering plants, and various other physical attributes. Number one, the simple leaf. When a single lamina is connected to the main stem by a petiole, the leaf is said to be simple. A simple leaf may be in size to any depth but not down to the midrib but the petiole. For example, in guava leaves. The compound leaves. A compound leaf is a leaf made up of the two or more leaflets. In a compound leaf, the midrib of the leaf is branched into different leaflets and is connected by a single petiole. For example, in the pea or the palm leaves. Now, the number one types of the compound leaves. The compound leaves are further subdivided into following types. The types of the palmate compound leaf. It is palmately compound leaf. The leaflets are attached at the tip of the petiole. For example, in silicoton, these are further divided as unifoliate, bifoliate, trifoliate on the basis of the further leaflets are present. Number one, the unifoliate. These type of the leaves have only one leaflet. For example, in the citrus, bifoliate have as the leaves have two leaflets, that is the balanites. The trifoliate has the three leaflets, for example, the oxalis. The quadrifoliates have the four leaflets arising from the same point. In the Marsilia, the multifoliate types of the leaves have many leaflets that are generally present in the obex. This slide shows the palmately compound leaf. This is a simple, this is a further other type, then other type, and the other types of the palmately compound leaves. This is the simple leaf, this is the pinnately compound leaf, this is the palmately compound leaf. Types of the pinnately compound leaf. The pinnately compound leaf consists of the middle of the leaf is divided into numerous leaflets and all connected by the common axis. For example, in neem tree, this can be further differentiated into the pinnate. A compound leaf that has an axis on each side of the midrib is known as a pinnate leaf. Unipinnate leaf with leaflets on each side of the axis. For example, in the acacia, bipinnate have the secondary axis measuring the leaflet. There, for example, in the acacia. A tripinnate, here the tertiary axis measuring leaflets merge from the secondary axis. For example, in the moringa. For moringa, in other words, it is the in Urdu it is known as the suhanjana. D compound, leaf with more than three pinnate, old leaves of the coriander. Coriander means the dhania. The peripinnate, a leaf without a terminal leaf or with even number of the leaflets. For example, the acacia. Acacia, it is called in Urdu amaltas. Imperipinnate, leaf with an old or terminal leaflets, for example, in the P. This slide shows the pinnately compound leaf. The pinnately compound leaf has many types. Unipinnate type of the compound leaf. This is the bipinnate type of the compound leaf. This is a tripinnate. This is the D compound. The unipinnate means this is the main rachis extend the leaflets. This is the one leaf from arising from the main rachis. However, in this case, unipinnate or imperipinnate compound leaf, the main rachis is divided further into the single leaf and ends with an odd leaflet. However, in case of the bipinnate, the main rachis is further divided into the this petiole, this petiole and petiole further, this midrib also produces the further small leaves. This is known as the bipinnate. This is the pinnule. Small leaves also known as the pinnules. And this is the main petiole of the leaf. This is a tripinnate. Tripinnate means the main rachis or the main petiole is further divided into other rachilla. This further rachilla is divided into the further leaflets. These leaflets are small and are known as the pinnules. This is the D compound. D compound leaves. This is the petiole. This is the main rachis. The main rachis are petiole further divided into the subrachis, first subrachis in the subrachis, and further divided to the leaves. Region of the leaf. It develops from the leaf primordium from pro-meristem of the shoot apical meristem. The initiation of the region of the leaf, that is consisted of the periclinal divisions or the flanks of pro-meristem below the apex. Produces a bulge called the leaf buttress, which grow laterally, and then leaf primordium grows in length by activity of apical meristem present at the tip. Then it further growth, further growth occurred by activity of apical, intercalary, and axial or plate meristems. Number two, the development of the leaf axis. The apical meristem forms bladeless, tapering cone-shaped leaf axis. The activity of the apical meristem ceases and further development takes place by intercalary meristem. However, in monocots, intercalary growth is more pronounced due to the presence of the intercalary meristem. Number three, the growth of lamina by marginal meristem. This is another type of the meristem that is present at the margins of the lamina. The cells of the margins of leaf axis becomes more active and forms leaf blade with midrib. That is known as the marginal meristem. The marginal meristem of the leaf blade show little activity at the base and form the petiole. The adaxial meristem divides periclinally and makes leaf thick. The final shape and size of the leaf takes place by activity of the plate meristem. This is the meristem containing parallel layers of the cells dividing anticlinal divisions. This slide shows the photographs of the apical growth, adaxial meristem, plate meristem, and what of the case may be. The all developmental stages that are required for the region of the leaf. The photograph 1A shows the shoot apical meristem. This is the leaf primordia. In the photograph B, the adaxial meristem also produces and further produces the lateral tissues of the leaf. This is the marginal meristem that is the present at the tip of the leaves. This is the plate meristem. The marginal meristem and the plate meristem. Marginal meristem produces the length of the leaves, whereas the plate meristem increases the girth of the leaves. This is the apical meristem of the leaf blade. They further develop to produce the elongated leaves. This is the vertical sections of the leaf primordia showing the marginal or submarginal, marginal and submarginal initial that are present at the tip of the leaves. Region of the leaf primordium or the leaf blade in the flax. This is the name of the plant. This example has been derived from the flax or linum plant. This basal subapical initials is only one cell that is present divide mitotically and bulges out towards the epidermis, towards the upper epidermis. The subapical initials further divide mitotically, produces from its lower side as well as along the right and left, and the leaf buttress is produced. Then the leaf buttress further developed into the upward growth type of the leaf structures. Here, the growth of the procambium also initiated. The primordium before the initial of the blade is like that of the small rounded structures. Then further the procambial activity takes place occurred. The submarginal cells elongate the leaf and the procambial activity further divide and subdivide into different types of the cambium initials or the cambial cells. The plate meristem divides by the anticlinal divisions. The differentiation of the mesophyll cells. This is the next tissue that is formed during the origin of the or development of the leaf from the buttress of the leaf tissues. Differentiation of the mesophyll, palisade parenchyma is formed by the anticlinal divisions. Spongy parenchyma is formed by anticlinal divisions, but less frequent than the palisade cells. The adjacent epidermal cells stop dividing and enlarge in the plane parallel to the surface of the leaf. The vascular tissue developed by activity of the procambium that develops from the late meristem or the plate meristem. The phloem develops earlier than the xylem. The midrib and the lateral veins are formed due to the intercalary meristems. This slide shows the differentiation of the mesophyll tissue systems. This is A, B, and C. First of all, the leaf still compact. Here, the leaf procambium is produced. Procambium produces the vascular bundles. Then vascular bundles, once established, the second stage, the differentiation of the mesophyll tissues. The mesophyll tissues, the further these layers further divide and subdivide anticlinally and periclinally to produce the mature leaf palisade parenchyma as well as the spongy parenchyma tissues. Then there is a bundle sheath. There is another type of the tissues is present in the leaves, different types of the leaves and C3 as well as C4 plants, which is known as the bundle sheath. A bundle sheath vein, one larger leaf veins are surrounded by parenchymatous woody, poorly developed chloroplast, while the smaller veins are enclosed in one or more layers of the compactly arranged cells forming the bundle sheath. The bundle sheath in a leaf is a layer of the compactly arranged parenchyma surrounding the vascular bundles. It means that the bundle sheath is present around the vascular bundle of the C3 and C4 plants. The bundle sheath may be parenchymatous or the sclerenchymatous. The bundle sheath regulates the movement of the substances between the vascular tissues and the parenchyma, and in leaves protect the vascular tissue from exposure to air. Bundle sheath cells constitute approximately 15% of the chloroplast containing the cells. The bundle sheath cells fluxes of the compounds both into the leaf, particularly during leaf development, and out of the leaf during export of photosynthetics and during the senescence. Means bundle sheath is very important tissue system that help or protect the vascular bundle, and it releases or accept different types of the compounds during the photosynthetic activity. The bundle sheath also conducts the flow of waters from the xylem to the mesophyll cells and then to the intercellular spaces. The bundle sheath cells are only cells outside the vasculature itself, which is known as the xylem, phloem, and some of the associated parenchyma cells, through which these substances must pass. This photograph shows the bundle sheath present, the green in color, surround the vascular bundle. This bundle sheath cell is present in both C3 and C4 plants as well. The functions are the role of the bundle sheath in C3 plants. In C3 plants, which are known as the normal plants, bundle sheath perform the light reaction and dark Calvin cycle of the photosynthesis and mesophyll cells, as bundle sheath cell does not have the chloroplast. They conduct fluxes of the compounds both into the leaf, particularly during leaf development out of the leaf, during the export of photosynthesis products, and during the senescence activity. The photosynthesis activity, the formation of the different types of the compounds, and the senescence activity, when the autumn season comes, all leaves shed from the trees. It means senescence occurred. This senescence is a layer between the main stem and the petiole that produced during the activity or by the activity of the abscisic acid. And in this activity, the cells of the transitional cells that are present between the petiole and the main stem weaken, and the leaf falls down. Its metabolic roles in photosynthesis, carbohydrate synthesis, and storage, the import and export of the nitrogen and sulfur, and the metabolism of the reactive oxygen species. This photograph shows the cylinder of the bundle sheath around the vascular bundles. This is the monocot leaf. This is the vascular bundles 1 and 2 around these two vascular bundles. That is the bundle sheath is present. This is very clearly visible. This arrangement, known as the Kranz anatomy or structure after the German Kranz rat. This arrangement, the presence of the bundle sheath around the vascular bundles, known as the Kranz anatomy, ensures that the palisade cells are in close contact with the bundle sheath cells so that malic acid can easily pass to the bundle sheath. It also means that the products of the photosynthesis can be quickly transferred from the bundle sheath to the adjacent phloem tissue for transport to other parts of the plant. This slide shows the C3 as well as the C4 internal structure of the leaf. This photograph shows the bundle sheath that is present in the C3 leaves, which is non-photosynthetic or don't have the chloroplast. As compared to this, the C4 plants has a bundle sheath cells that has the chloroplast chloroplast within them. It means that in C4 plants, the bundle sheath cells perform the function of the photosynthesis, whereas in C3 plants, it helps the transportation, import, and export of different types of the materials of the leaves. Next is the bundle sheath extension. A strip of the ground tissue between the vascular bundles and epidermis in the leaf can be hypodermal and consist of parenchyma, collenchyma, or the sclerenchyma. There are two types of the leaves on the basis of the bundle sheath extension. The heterobaric leaves. In many dicotyledons, cells similar to bundle sheath extend towards the epidermis and are sometimes collenchymically thickened. Leaves of sunflower have such bundle sheath extensions. Such leaves are referred to as the heterobaric. The homobaric leaves, in contrast, leaves largely lacking the bundle sheath extensions are termed as a homobaric. This slide shows the internal structure of the leaf or the bundle sheath extension. This bundle sheath extension, this is extend from the bundle sheath that surround the vascular bundle and extend toward the epidermis. However, in this case also, the bundle sheath extension is also present in the cortex that extend from the bundle sheath or surround the vascular bundles. What is the function of the bundle sheath extension? The leaves that exhibit bundle sheath extensions predominate in deciduous plants, whereas those without are predominantly evergreen broadleaf foliage. Of warmer climates has suggested that Bundle sheath extensions may be involved in conduction, particularly as there is an inverse correlation with wind frequency and distribution. Bundle sheath extensions appear to be an adaptation to saving water and to protecting the mesophyll against the water stress. Homoperic bundle sheath extensions appear to be an adaptation to saving water and to protecting the mesophyll against water stress. The homobaric leaves found in hot climates may have evolved to increase water use efficiencies by allowing little carbon dioxide movement. The other function of the bundle sheath extension in heterobaric leaves are likely to reduce the spread of diseases as well. Bundle sheath extension may also behave as windows, increasing light penetration into the internal layers of the mesophyll, thus compensating for the production of photosynthetic capacity per unit leaf area caused by the non-photosynthetic extensions. This is the citations or the links from where such materials uh, recorded and taken. Thank you very much.